Welcome back to another video. My name is Trevel, and today, man, we're doing a long-awaited Game of Thrones Q&A that I probably should have done months ago after the show ended, but honestly, I did not really feel like doing that at the time. Obviously, the ending had a lot of emotions, a lot of negative and a lot of positive emotions. I was very lukewarm about the ending. I feel like it was okay. I didn't feel like it was the best ending the show could have chosen, but hey, it's the ending, so I gotta agree with it. Um, Obviously, a lot of people hated it, a lot of people liked it. So I feel like it's going to be one of those endings to a TV show that people are just going to like. Some can hate it, but some can like it. It's not going to be universally hated or universally liked, because I know people, my own friends, that actually like the Game of Thrones ending, and some people that I know hate the Game of Thrones ending. For me, I like it, but I don't like it at the same times. But I have my own problems with it. Everybody has their own problems with it. We all got our own opinions, right? So I'm gonna be doing your Q&A questions from 3 months ago. I know some of y'all probably have unsubscribed since then, but hey, I'm just gonna be answering your questions anyway. So I appreciate y'all for asking the questions, and here we go. So the first question comes from a YouTuber called Agnes. He says, "Sorry if my English is bad, but which actor did you think had the best performance in the show as a whole? Which characters grew on you the other way around the most, like changed? Best episodes and best season? Character you wish had more times and scenes?" Okay, I'll answer your first question. Which actor do I think had the best performance? I gotta say Alfie Allen, the guy who played Theon Greyjoy. I just did not like that man's character in the beginning of the show. You know, season one, he was just kind of a dick, and then he became super a dick in season two when he betrayed the Starks, and then we saw, the when he got captured by Ramsay Bolton, and then he became Reek, and then he came back into Theon Greyjoy trying to struggle to become the man that he was before. I just think Theon Greyjoy had one of the best arcs in the show, and I think Alfie Allen, in my opinion, had the greatest performance. The guy was so underrated. The guy, in terms of acting, in my opinion, how crazy this man looked, how insane he looked as Reek, and how strong-willed he looked as Theon in his best moments. I also gotta say the guy who played Jorah Mormont, I think his name's I forgot his name off the top of my head, but the guy who played Jorah Mormont, he's great. Ramsay Bolton, the guy who played Ramsay Bolton, I forgot his name as well. He was great as well. But I think all the actors were great in their own parts. There was no actor where I thought, they seemed out of place. Well, except the Sand Snakes, but hey, we ain't going to talk about that right now. But other than that, I feel like all the actors, had a great semblance to their role. Charles Dance as Tywin Lannister was great as well. I really thought a lot of the older actors were great. Jonathan Pryce was great in his role. Lena Headey was great in her role. Everybody was great, It's like Alfie Allen was definitely the guy who stuck out to me the most as just a fantastic actor and a fantastic character transformation. I gotta say, it's Theon Greyjoy, Alfie Allen for me, man. Okay, and then your second question was which characters grew on you or the other way around the most, like changed. Which characters grew on me? Definitely Jaime Lannister. Definitely his character arc was, great, even though his character arc didn't really finish the way I wanted it to finish. But hey, that's neither the here or there. Theon Greyjoy was a character that grew on me. The Hound is a character that grew on me. Definitely, because I thought he was just an asshole and a dick at first, but you get to peel more layers from these characters, and you start to like see, their humanity, their choices, stuff like that. So definitely the Hound, Jaime Lannister, Theon, those characters. Sansa. Actually, I've always liked Sansa. I don't really have a problem with Sansa. Arya. All those characters have been a great, poignant influence on me watching the show. So I appreciate all those characters and how they have changed from their character arcs and stuff like that. So I appreciate all that. Best episodes and best season. The best episodes, definitely Blackwater, definitely Baelor, definitely Winds of Winter, definitely Battles of Bastards, Hard Home. I gotta say, yeah, probably those five off the top of my head. The best season. My favorite season was probably season 4, but in terms of I think the best season was season 4, but my favorite season, season 6. I feel like season 6 just had so much emotion. We found out the origins of the Night King. We found out Jon Snow's true origins. We had the Battle of the Bastards. We had the Winds of Winter, Cersei blowing up the Sept of Baelor. We had the Hound's return. We had so many things happen in that season where it was my favorite season. But in my opinion, the best season was definitely season 4. I think season 4 just changed the game and was really the end of what Game of Thrones was for me. It wasn't that season 5 and season 6 and the rest of the show was bad, but season 4 was the pinnacle. And sometimes you can get to a great spot in the show, and sometimes it goes downhill. But it wasn't like it was like a downhill slope for Game of Thrones. It was a gradual decline in quality, in my opinion. Like season 5 was good, and then season 6 dipped it up for me, and then seasons 7 and 8 kind of dipped down for me. But hey. I think season 4 was definitely the best season, and my favorite season was season 6. Which characters you wish had more screen time? Definitely Gendry. I feel like he had a big role that could have been explored a little bit more. And the fact that he is a Baratheon, the fact that he was Robert Baratheon's son, and the way they just wrote him out of the story for like 3 seasons, it didn't piss me off, but it kind of just, I don't know if he was doing other work at the time, which he couldn't like come back to the show, but still, I just wish they had a little bit more story for him where he could interact with maybe another character other than Arya and the Brotherhood without banners. Also, the Brotherhood without banners, I wish they had more screen time. I wish we could have learned a little bit more about their religion and a little bit more about, everything, man. The Red Priestesses and stuff like that. I wish we could have learned more about that, the religion, the Azor Ahai, and all the prophecies and stuff like that. But I know in the books it's a lot more influenced and stuff like that. But I would say those elements were things that I wish the show would address. But, it's all good in the end of the day. We got another question from Salah. I don't even know how to say your name. Sal Nagabud. I don't know how to say your name, bro, but I'm sorry, bro or ma'am. I'm sorry. He says, I can't ask any serious questions. Maybe. He said, who do you think Varys sent his last letters about Jon's parentage to? Because that's one thing I really did not get. Yeah, that's one thing I really thought, Varys was going to send those letters to the Citadel. I really thought that he was going to send those letters to the Citadel, where the Citadel was going to just release, information of Jon's parentage to everybody. But honestly, that's a plot point that they didn't really, accomplish in this episode, obviously. Nobody really cares about Jon's parentage at the end. It was something that was so heavily guarded in the first couple of seasons and in the books, where they really didn't capitalize on it a lot. So I really don't know. That's one plot point they really just, threw out, because we saw Varys at the beginning of the episode he died in write those letters, and we didn't see where he sent those to. So I don't know, man. Q&A from Dennis Hilton. What was your favorite episode in season? I kind of already answered that, but my favorite episode was definitely The Winds of Winter, and my favorite season was season 6. Not the best season, but my favorite season, season 6. Who was your favorite character on the show? I gotta say it was Tyrion, and I gotta say Jon. Definitely Tyrion and Jon were my two favorite characters. I don't think I have a favorite character, just one character, but I do have favorite characters like Theon, definitely Bran, seasons 1 through 6 Bran, not definitely season 7 and season 8 Bran. Definitely Jon, Ned Stark, definitely Arya Stark, Sansa Stark, mostly the Starks. Yeah, I like all the Stark characters, definitely. Q&A for Serenity Valley. Would you have liked the ending better if Theon had lived and ended up on the Iron Throne? Also, you should react to Outlander or Firefly. Definitely thank you for those shows that you recommended. I will put those on my list so I can, check those out. And thank you for the question. Would I have liked the ending better if Theon ended up on the Iron Throne? I don't think so. I think Theon died very nobly. I really liked Theon's ending to his story. I really liked that he had a whole redemption arc. And I felt like he was one of those characters that had a great ending, right? Because he got killed by the Night King. I mean, not many characters got killed by the Night King, man. So that was awesome. I honestly thought that, Theon would have died by the hands of his uncle Euron, like sacrificing himself in that sense, saving himself for Yara. But, the way they did it, where he had such a big pivotal part in the ending of the Night King, like he was the last person the Night King killed, I would have liked I really like that, Theon went out that way and he died a hero and he died, in his home in Winterfell. So I really like that he ended, his story ended that way. So I really like it. Thank you for the question, by the way. Um, Q&A from R. Jalatin04. In this world, Sansa has no titles and authority. Number one, why does she get the vote at the council with the other lords? Why does this person with no titles get to succeed from the kingdom? I think number one, after Daenerys is dead, I think they just like said, screw it, we're just gonna make anybody a lord because Sansa is the lady of Winterfell, right? And obviously Winterfell is a big kingdom, and the other kingdoms need Winterfell, and so I feel like Sansa, even though she has no titles and no authority, she has kind of authority because she kind of ruled while Jon was gone, the King of the North was gone, and when Jon bent the knee to Daenerys, obviously I feel like Sansa was still the Lady of Winterfell, so she kind of had a title. So I really feel like she had a vote either way, because obviously all the lords of the different kingdoms probably had a vote in choosing Bran to become king. So I feel like in that semblance, it was warranted and it made sense in my opinion. Why does this person with no titles get to succeed from the kingdom? Because Bran said so. He's the king. You know what I mean? So I feel like once they voted Bran in to be king, I feel like it doesn't. Who cares, right? It doesn't matter. Like whatever Bran says. Next question from Wayo or Wayo 595. How do you feel about Bran's character in general? He knew he was always going to be king. I felt like he played and manipulated everyone. He kept telling Jon his true parentage would cause a rift between him and Dany, and in the end would cause Jon to kill Dany and allow him to become king. Wow, that's pretty crazy. I never really thought about it like that. I mean, I have, but I mean, damn, if that was Bran's true purpose from the beginning, just to tell Jon his parentage just for him to cause a rift between him and Dany's relationship, for him to essentially kill Dany and for Bran to get on the Iron Throne. I mean, Bran obviously knew that he was going to be king. How do I feel about Bran's character? I feel like Bran could have had a lot more development in terms of his personality. Like I know that he's supposed to be an automaton and very stone cold, and nobody, he doesn't want to, really address his personality as much, but I wanted to see more flashbacks from Bran. I wanted to see more, magical shit with Bran, but we didn't really get to see that in season 7 and 8. He didn't really do that much, he kind of just laid back, and they kind of let his character kind of just sit in the background and let everything happen. You know what I mean? It's not like Bran actually came out with some plans or whatever when the Night King was coming or whatever. So with Bran's character, am I okay with him being king? Yeah, I'm okay with it now because I feel like it makes sense. Like, he can never be corrupted. He can never be, manipulated into being somebody he doesn't want to be because he's Bran. He's just going to do whatever's best for the realm and whatever. And so I feel like, honestly, his character was okay in season 7 and 8. I really liked his character in season 1 through 6, where, we were kind of just going through this journey of him becoming a boy, learning to have this great power, and him becoming the most powerful being in the show where the Night King wants to kill him. So I feel like, definitely Bran's character had a good ending. I feel like he had a good ending. I don't really hate his ending or whatever. I don't hate him as a character. I just felt like they could have gave him more to do back in season 7 and 8. He didn't really do that much in my opinion. He kind of just told Jon, his secret identity, and that's about it. Got another Q&A from Jonathan Siegel. He says, for your Q&A, in my opinion, the main flaw of season 7 and 8 is that having less episodes means that it's rushed. Do you think if they did 10 episodes per season, the story/ending would have been better received? Thank you for your question. And yes, I feel like definitely you're right on the money with that. Definitely having less episodes in season 7 and season 8 meant that the flow and pace of the 10 episode structure that we were used to, I think kind of threw us off for a loop. And I feel like, definitely, if you think about it, season 7 was not rushed, but I feel like it could have been expanded a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, that's 3 episodes in season 7, and that's 4 episodes in season 8, right? Think about it like that. That's an entire season. Like, low key, that's an entire season that they could have done. They could have done an entire season and kind of just expanded the story a little bit more. Built up the relationship and rivalry of Jon and Dany a little bit more. Built up the Night King's arc a little bit more. Maybe having, instead of one battle, maybe instead of having one battle in Winterfell, maybe another battle that the Night King goes to and then he falls or something like that. Maybe instead of having one war in King's Landing, we have two wars or something like that. I do definitely think in season 7 and 8, if we had 10 episodes per season, I feel like the ending would have been a lot better because we would have kind of had more time to breathe. In season 8, it felt like, bam, 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 things were happening. We never got time to resolve any of the side characters. Maybe the main characters got resolutions like Jon, Dany, Tyrion, Bran, Sansa, Arya, Jaime, Cersei. All those characters got resolutions, but I'm talking about the side characters. Definitely Dario, where the hell is he at? The Brotherhood Without Banners, stuff like that. We could have gotten, maybe episodes devoted to those guys where we could have, wrapped up those kind of stories, because now it's just kind of left open-ended for interpretation, which is not bad, but I feel like, definitely I just feel like, the showrunners, Dan and Dave, they just wanted to rush Game of Thrones so they can move on to their Star Wars project or whatever. I just feel like they wanted to rush the show because obviously I read articles where HBO wanted the show to go 10 seasons, right? Or 11. They wanted the show to go on as long as it did, right? Because Game of Thrones was such a moneymaker for them. They literally could have just stretched it out, where Dan and Dave wanted to just end it at a certain point. Even George R. R. Martin himself, like, you can quote me on this, but I do believe I read an article where he said the show needed to end at 10 seasons. And I feel like 10 seasons would have been a great place to stop. But I feel like, definitely after the Night King's death, they could have expanded more on Dany becoming the Mad Queen. They could have built that up a little bit more rather than it be just one episode. Because one episode is just not enough character development. It just was a straight switch. And it didn't make sense to me and a lot of the other viewers. And I felt like, if they definitely would have expanded on that more, like you said, I definitely think it would have been a lot better received. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not complaining either way. So there you go. I got a Q&A question from another view. Thank you for your question, bro. You had a long ass paragraph. I read all that, but I'm just gonna read your question, bro. I read all the large paragraph. I appreciate, the props and whatnot. You said, Trevel, just wanted to ask, who are your top 3 favorite characters and top 3 actors in this show, and what is your favorite scene? Definitely, I'll start with my favorite scene. Definitely, my favorite scene is definitely when we find out Jon is a Targaryen, and Jon, that Ned Stark's sister, Lyanna Stark, is Jon's mother. I feel like that's just the best scene of the show. The way it's acted, the way it's crafted, the way the music just drums up to a beginning and to a crescendo. The way they just did that scene was amazing, right? And I kind of just apply that scene also with the King of the North scene, where Jon was being crowned the king. That's the best scene of the show. Like, I know a lot of other scenes are great, but in my opinion, that's my favorite, and I think that's the best scene that I saw in this show. The best scene that just encapsulated everything that Game of Thrones was for me. So I feel like definitely, that Winds of Winter episode where everything went down was just, that scene, man, was just so impactful and powerful. It was great. It was just a great scene. Who are your top 3 characters? My top 3 characters, I gotta say Tyrion, Jon Snow, and definitely Arya Stark. I definitely think those are my 3 top favorite characters. I gotta say my top 3 actors. Number 1 is Alfie Allen, who played Theon Greyjoy. He was fantastic. Number 2, I gotta say Charles Dance, who played Tywin Lannister. He was fantastic. And I think number 3, I gotta say Lena Headey, who played Cersei. She was great. She was fantastic. So I had to shout those 3 out, in my opinion. Another question by DDB. Hey, Trevel, thank you for your fantastic reactions over these months. I have a question for your upcoming Q&A video. Well, it's right now, but thank you. Appreciate it. I already commented on part 1 of this reaction. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I already read all this, I think. She said pretty much about Drogon when he burnt the Iron Throne. After that happened, so here's my question: what do you think Drogon's future role is in this epic story? Obviously, now that the story is over, I don't know where the hell Drogon went, and that's a plot point they could have actually done and kind of had a resolution. Like Drogon literally picked up Dany's body, burnt the Iron Throne, and left. Like I really wanted to see like something where maybe we could have gotten Dany's burial site or something like that. Like we could have seen something like that, but obviously we didn't have enough time. So that's what I'm saying. Like if we would have had 10 episodes, we could have had Dany's death in maybe episode 9, and then episode 10 we would have had the aftermath and the character resolutions and Jon's exile and the who's gonna be king and all of that, right? You could have had that in an episode and it would have worked. But you know, it is what it is. So I'm not gonna really complain about it now. I don't feel like Drogon. I don't feel like there's gonna be any. I don't feel like there's gonna be any resolution to Drogon or his story or where Dany's body went. I feel like it's just up for interpretation. And if I had to assume, I feel like Drogon definitely did bury Dany somewhere, or he did burn her body. Well, she can't be burnt. I wonder if she can be burnt after death. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. I feel like he put her body in a burial site somewhere, and probably just lived out the rest of his days alongside her body. So alongside his mother. So I feel like that's probably what happened, but I don't know since the story has ended and since the show has ended. But thank you for your question. So this comment really stuck out to me. Bethany Nielsen. I don't know if I probably butchered the hell out of your name. I'm sorry. People butcher my name too. Pretty much, you said, how long has Bran been planning this? Was it part of Blood Raven's plan? Now, is Bran a good guy or a sort of villain? Food for thought for me anyway. Honestly, was it part of Blood Raven's plan, which is pretty much the old Three-Eyed Raven? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I feel like it wasn't. I feel like his purpose, Three-Eyed Raven, was just to train Bran. I don't think his purpose was to have him rule the Iron Throne. If maybe I'm missing something, but that just seemed to me like it just seemed to me Three-Eyed Raven's role in Bran's life was to just make sure he was prepared for the Night King, right? Make sure that he was trained and prepared. It wasn't to make sure that he was prepared to be king, but to just defeat the Night King, in my opinion. But that was just me. That's just how I saw it. How is Bran a good guy or a villain? I don't think Bran's a good guy or a villain. I think Bran's just doing what Bran is going to do. I don't think it's a good guy or a villain thing because Bran doesn't really have emotions. Bran doesn't feel empathy or feel anything. Like when I see his character in season 8, I didn't feel shit from that guy. Like the dude just is a cold, dusted mess. The dude just didn't have any thoughts of anger, sadness, anything, right? Like every scene that I saw Bran in, and that's not a fault of the acting, by the way. That's a fault on the direction. Wink, wink. But I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people say that Bran is the true villain or whatever, and he let all these people die and whatever. But I feel like he just stand pat and just let everything work. Like, of course, he could have told people what was going to happen because obviously he saw the future and he saw that he was going to become king. But I don't know. I just feel like it's possible that Bran could have just knew it was going to happen, but just didn't say anything, let everything be, blah, blah, blah. So for me, is Bran a good guy or a bad guy? I think he's just a guy. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any good guys or bad guys in Game of Thrones. I feel like every character is definitely complex. Well, I definitely think Jon's a good guy, but I feel like he's one of those good guy hero characters that did bad things, but he's still a good guy. You know what I mean? Tyrion's a good guy character. Even though he's done some bad things, he's a hero character. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like there's any good guys or bad guys. I just feel like there's just guys. There's guys and girls. There's just guys and girls. Arya is not a good guy. Is she a good guy? Is she a good girl? I don't know. She's a bad girl. She's a bad guy. I don't know. She's just a guy. She's just an assassin. So for Bran, I don't feel like he's a good guy or a bad guy. I just feel like he's a guy. You know what I mean? He's a guy. So I don't know. I read all the comments, but I feel like for the questions, this is the last question. It's called Fate125. I probably butchered the name. I'm sorry. My question: do you think Jon was the Do you think John was the downfall of Dany? Like when she came to Winterfell, she completely gave herself to him after she saw that what the Northerners didn't like her. I think she deeply loved him and wanted to be with him, but then he betrayed her. That and losing her close friends led to her losing her mind. Tragic. Tragic. Is this your take of things? So is John the downfall of Dany? I think he is. I really think, unfortunately, how tragic it is, I feel like he is the downfall of her. Like, if she probably would not have met John, well, she was probably going to have to meet John either way. But think about it like this. Like, if she just killed Cersei and the mountain and everybody in the kingdom, right? Like, burned it down. She probably wouldn't have done that. But I'm just saying, like, in season 6, we saw her, going to King's Landing. Well, she was going to Dragonstone first and then going to King's Landing, right? We saw, all her plans come to shit after Tyrion kind of foiled it for her. She lost the Tyrell. She lost the Sand Snakes. She lost the Ironborn. She lost so many things because of Tyrion and his dumbass with his planning. So, honestly, I feel like it's Tyrion and Jon. I feel like it's a lot of betrayal from Tyrion and Jon, you know what I mean? Jon did kill her, so I think honestly the whole Lyanna Stark, Rhaegar Targaryen thing kind of caused a rift in their relationship, and I feel like it would have never been the same. You know what I mean? Even if Jon kind of put it off and was saying, you know what, it is what it is. I love Daenerys. I'm gonna stay with her. It would have never been the same. I feel like if anything, Daenerys and Jon would have just went like that, you know what I mean? I definitely think that Dany did love Jon, and I definitely think that she was willing to just let it go. Let it go that, the whole Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, they're related thing. But I think the reason why Jon killed her was because she was going to go to the other countries and kind of take it over and burn everything to the ground like she did the King's Landing. So I feel like that's why Jon did it. I don't think Jon did it because he didn't love her. Of course he did, but I feel like he did it for the sake of everybody. I feel like he did it because he's a tragic hero and he had to do what he thought was right. And obviously he and Tyrion both had a play in her downfall. I think both, not just Jon, but Tyrion had a play in her downfall as well. She had the Ironborn. She had the Dornish people. She had, the Tyrells. Everybody, right? After season 7, it was all gone. So the only, person she had was Jon in the North. So she had to align with Jon in the North because Tyrion said so. Tyrion was her advisor and all that. So, but like I said, yeah, Jon did kill her, and he had a good reason to. I mean, she did burn King's Landing to the ground. Like, she killed everybody in that bitch. Everybody was dead, right? So he had to do what he had to do. But y'all, that is the end of the Q&A questions. Definitely, I am going to be doing more Game of Thrones videos. I definitely do want to talk about the ending in depth. I definitely do want to talk about the last season more in depth because I feel like it should be analyzed in a way where we look at each episode, how it was crafted. We look at each character, how their story arc was crafted, and how it all resolved at the end. I don't hate the ending. I don't like the ending. I feel like I'm in the middle. Like, I feel like it's okay, but it's not the best ending they could have chose. I'm not going to tell you what my ending is because, honestly, I'm not a screenwriter. I'm just a guy that watches the show as same as you, right? The only great ending where I feel like it was just perfect was Breaking Bad, but that's just me. But man, yes, I'm going to be doing more Game of Thrones content. Definitely when the prequels do come out, I am going to be reviewing those, watching those as well, alongside you guys. When the books come out, George R. R. Martin, please get on those goddamn books because we need the Winds of Winter. We need that. I need that. I need to know what happens, even though we kind of know what happens, but I need to know what happens in the next book. I need to know what happens, right? So hopefully George gets on those books. Because, goddamn, I mean, my Game of Thrones vibes are all off right now since the show is done. So, I need those books ASAP. Also, I have heard your suggestions for new shows. I have picked 2 shows that I'm going to review that are going to come out next week. I'm going to be planning to do at least 2 episodes of the one show and 1 episode of the other show every week. So you'll get 3 videos definitely on reactions, and you're going to get other videos on reviews and stuff like that, random stuff. I'm going to be talking about some Marvel stuff, some DC stuff, definitely the Joker trailer, definitely some Star Wars stuff, definitely about Spider-Man, the MCU, Marvel, all that. Other content as well, but next week I am going to be starting 2 shows, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to get all that. I'm definitely going to be doing other kinds of Game of Thrones content. If you guys have any suggestions for me, please put it in the comments down below. I appreciate y'all for watching and taking a ride with me throughout this entire Game of Thrones process. This entire Game of Thrones journey has been amazing, even though the show did not end the way I wanted it to end with the characters and all that. It's all good. The show is great, even though a bad ending can't ruin a great show, at least for me. Like, I can watch the show again and feel like, wow, that was a great experience. But, man, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!